Alright, here we go for like the third, fourth, fifth, 80th try here to explain the AM modulation on a stock radio and what it looks like on an average reading meter and a peak reading meter, and compare it to a radio I tuned up a few years ago. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to be keying up this radio here, stock one, and showing that it has around a 3.5 watt dead key and what it looks like on the scope with modulation. So I have to set the phone down in order to do that and hold everything and do everything all at once. So here's the phone sitting down. I'm going to key it up. Then I'm going to hold the microphone over here. I'll move this real quick. I'm going to move the microphone over here by the tone and show that there's the modulation on the scope. Gets like 80-90%. But you see the average power on the meters does not change. If I switch this to peak reading, you'll see that the peak power changes, average power does not. Peak goes up about 3 times because that's only about 80% modulation. If it was 100% modulation, that would go up 4 times the carrier. Not double like some people say on the internet, it goes up 4 times at 100% modulation. But you can see on average, power doesn't change. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the radio I modified over here, this guy, and I'm going to do the same thing. I will have to adjust the scope just a little bit because the carrier is so much lower. So, let me put that at the first gradient there, and put it over here by the tone. I don't know if you can even see the meters move because it's only about a 1 watt carrier on this radio. Then I'm slowly going to turn up the mic gain here. Whoa, let me get my finger out of there, see if, well, I'll do it 2 ways. Here. Give it some modulation. There's over 300% right there. And you'll see it went the average power goes from 1 watt to 5 watts. On a stock radio, the average power does not change. This is because of the NPCRC mod I did to this grant. So the average power changes from 1 watt to 5 watts. And if I go to the PEP power, you will see that the PEP swings way up there. Okay, got 14 watts or so. So it goes from 1 watt to 14 before it pinches off over there. Over 300% modulation. Average power goes from 1 watt to 5 watts. Hopefully you can see that properly because I'm not doing these videos anymore. I'm done trying. I'm horrible at cinematography. Anyways, there we go. Clean modulation up to 300%. You can see the difference between PEP and average. Average on here does swing up, but on the stock radio over here, it does not. I'm not going to readjust the scope. I'm just going to show the modulation and that the average power doesn't go up. Average power doesn't change. Peak power will change. Alright. Hopefully that makes sense to somebody. Have a good one.